We caught you guys having a great conversation about design and lace and in general light wallets in the Cardano ecosystem. So can you both introduce yourselves real fast, who you are and what you do in the ecosystem? So we'll start with you, Oswaldo.
So Oswaldo Rivas, I'm a product manager of Lace at this moment. Been working for almost a year and looking forward for this event, for the Red Bull event. Very nice to actually talk to a member of the community to give us some feedback of how he see the wallet at this point.
Yeah, and you, Nils?
Gotcha. Yeah, my name is Nils Peuser. I'm the operator of the Hazel stake pool and developer of the community integration system Hazelnet, which allows people to verify their wallets on Discord and kind of get roles, assign like permissions and things like that, create like off-chain governance, for example, for like simple cases, and to just bring the community closer together with the projects essentially, instead of having just we exist in Discord, but there is actually nothing Web3 tying us together. So I'm trying to build systems that kind of integrate Web2 and Web3, mostly like for social media and like messaging applications.
Perfect. So you guys were talking just now about several major buckets for design opportunities around Lace. So I want to touch on those. One of the first ones that you talked about was integration. The Light Wallet as sort of this center for integration between other tools. Can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe Oswaldo, we can start with you. How does Lace think about this?
Sure thing. We see Lace as a platform. So I think wallet is not enough for the vision that we have and we want to build. And when we talk about platform, it's because we want to be an enabler for the community, for whatever you can build on top of that. At this point, our MVP is focusing on, again, an MVP. We're talking about NFTs, transactions, send your recordings, connect with your dApps, an address book, staking, and pretty much I'm probably missing something, but it's very MVP kind of wise. But on top of that, we're talking about 2023. A lot of things are coming, and we want it not only to be our way to connect with the community, but the community can also connect their projects within Lace. I don't want to spoil things, but I want to leave it with an enabler. That's how we see this platform where we want to be and to be building in the coming years.
Yeah, and so I think Niels, as somebody who's building, tools that would potentially integrate with a wallet, how do you think about this issue of integration, and why is it important to you as a design opportunity?
I think it's a great opportunity for builders in the ecosystem to connect with different technologists, and to make sure that everybody can focus on what they're best at. So if let's talk about a tool, let's talk about a community integration tool. We don't necessarily have the skill set to build like a great user experience into the wallet, but we also want it for the people that are leveraging it. We want it to be an experience as if you're not actually leaving the application, right? So a lot of systems are successful because you are almost not aware that you're using them. And this can play at the micro, when we're talking about like, oh, well, we have Hazelnet and it sends you to the wallet verifies who you are, and then you get sent back. It's like you get a success message. But even at the macro, we talk about this often, where you don't necessarily want to be knowing which specific blockchain underneath you're using. You just want that whatever problem you're trying to solve to be solved. And whatever platform that can enable that, that's a great platform. So if Lace can provide a platform where the experience is seamless, that's good for the user, and it's good for the developers or the builders, because essentially for them it is a positive thing that their users get. I worked your thing and it was smooth, and you can say, well, actually I only did 50% of that, and the other 50% came from a completely different tool. And I can focus on where I have my expertise, and I don't have to worry about the wallet stuff too much.
Yeah. Oswaldo, maybe you could touch a little bit on that, like what is your vision for Lace being that mesh for the Cardano ecosystem and even beyond?
Sure. I think one of the things that we are visioning, I think not only for Lace, but Cardano itself. I mean, we want to grow up the community, and we need to understand that we need to increase the user base. In order to increase the user base, we need to make our products more friendly user. Yeah, at some point. No? And how do we start from there? That's when we start talking about let's create a wallet that's actually easy to anybody to pick up how to interact and get into the Web3. So again, I think this is what talking about seamless. And seamless, it's definitely a way to go when we talk about blockchain, which is so technical and so jargon. Only as simple as showing a short copy and telling the user what's going on in a very basic vocabulary without having to use jargons. Because at the end of the day, our users want to fulfill a use case, fulfill a need. And I always tell about this example. For example, if you're telling me that when you use your bank account, you know all the details that's going on in the back. No, you want to go to a coffee shop, get your coffee, I don't know, connect, get your credit card, and that's it. And you don't know how does the database actually validates that you are who you are, where's the money, where the balance. No. You just wanted, you didn't want a credit card. You wanted your coffee. You use a credit card to get it. That's it. And it's important that we have that in mind because at the end of the day, we want to keep on growing our community, we want to expand the impact that we are building not only as Lace, but again, as a Cardano community, as a Cardano ecosystem. We need to keep on having the user at the very center of our decisions and how we provide an experience for them.
Yeah, I think that leads excellently into the second bucket, which I think is trust and transparency, if I have that right. That you want to make it simple, seamless, easy, and at the same time, have some key information that the user can tell what's going on, that they know their interests are being taken care of, and that they're not compromising themselves in any kind of way. So Nils, you talked about this eloquently earlier. What do you think about this issue?
I think it's a very challenging thing to solve, right? Because you don't want to scare people away by saying, oh, well, you're giving away all this information, but at the same time you want to make sure that they have a way to validate that they are interacting with a trusted party, which I think there's a great opportunity for something like a decentralized app store where you can validate that, okay, this party is known and it has a high trust score, and that trust score is created by people that are actually using the product and they had positive experiences with them. We're not talking about rating here. We're not talking necessarily about like, oh, this app is easy to use, but this app actually does what it says it does, and there hasn't been any compromises. Maybe there's information on how to find. This is an open source app. If you're a developer, you can even get information about it. Or this is the audit. There's certifications, right? We're doing certifications on chain that let you openly say, this is the process we have gone through. We have done this validation, we have done this audit. So enabling users to find this information without saying, okay, here's 17 pages of disclaimers is a very, very challenging thing, but I do think it's crucial to at least make people aware of it. And I think that's interesting to see how we will solve this, because again, in the bank account example, I don't have to worry about how to get access to my stuff. If I have my identity with me somehow, I can prove to the bank. Yeah. It's not the same in crypto. When you have a wallet, you are, right now at least, 100% responsible for making sure that your seed phrase or whatever you're using to create your wallet is somehow recoverable for you or for your loved ones, depending on what you have to do.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Thinking about baking knowledge and trust and other information that helps users make decisions and feel confident into the design of the wallet. Is there anything that's going on in that space that you can tell us about with Lace?
I think going back to the discussion, the comment that Nils just mentioned on the App Store, the integration with the App Store in Lace is going to be interesting for two reasons. One, because we want to give a level of certainty to the users in the sense that if you see there's a App Store if there's a dApp in the App Store, that doesn't mean that it's bulletproof. It doesn't mean that it's 100% secure. But there's a piece in the App Store which certificates, which the same community is going to say, Nils, no worries, they are safe. They are safe who they say they are actually trusted, they are builders who are very serious about what they're doing, and they will actually want to provide a good experience to the community. Which you can do today. You can go to, let's go sofas.io, which is a dApp with sofas. Let's go that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of uncertainty in that sense because you find out about sofas.io and Twitter. Or maybe someone else told you, you know what, these guys give you like a very good experience, but you don't know who are you interacting with. And wallets in general have your funds, and you don't want to put in risk your funds with whatever type of apps out there. So in terms of transparency, in terms of improving and trusting in the ecosystem, the App Store plays really nice in this experience that one, giving you the tools and the information so you can actually make a sounded decision. It's completely up to you because at the end of the day, part of decentralization is that you are the ones making your own decisions. You know, your mnemonics, your wallet, your funds, um, but also as we cannot be the gatekeepers of this App Store because we wanted to keep it decentralized. We still want to give tools to the community to say, can you help us certify whatever is out there so other people can actually interact with it, keep growing the dApp ecosystem, and have a good experience between your funds, your wallets, and whatever is out there in the Web3.
Amazing. Okay, so I think there's a third bucket that we talked about, which is developer building for developers and being able to integrate technically with an ecosystem of builders. So I'm curious, maybe Nils, you can tell us a little bit like how you see the history of this in the Cardano ecosystem, and then Oswaldo, if you have any follow-ups on how Lace is thinking about that issue too.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think a crucial part that is often missed by when you build for users is that the only way you get users is if you have tools or use cases that are solved by applications or tools or websites that are actually out there. But those don't get created out of thin air, right? They need to be created, and those people that create them, they want to have a good user experience as well. But it's not the same user experience as the person using the wallet, because I'm interacting with Lace's backend with whatever integrations or tools or flows that it provides. And I think we need to be very mindful, especially at this point in Cardano's history, that we bring builders on. And you hear that in the community a lot, that some of the things that are out there are hard to get onboarded with. Like, it is hard to bring somebody from the outside that isn't already in the ecosystem and say, hey, here's your Hello World dApp. Like, it's hard. If somebody goes, they will have to be lucky enough to interact with somebody who has been building dApps, because there's not a one-stop shop that gives you all that information. And even if you do find it, they may be talking about, and here's how you build your integration with Eternal. Like, they're talking about a different wallet. So we need to work on SIPs, we need to work on standards so that developers don't have to know 5 things to achieve the same thing in 5 different wallets. And then we have to make sure that those tools are easily applicable, or the APIs or whatever you use of that wallet is easily used. Because if we don't get developers onboarded, we don't need to worry about onboarding users, because they will not come because there's nothing for them to do other than send ADA around like it was in Shelly. And so it's hard really to bring people on board if you don't have a value proposition.
Yeah, that is excellent. How do you think about that, Oswaldo?
No, it's definitely a good point. I mean, the whole ecosystem, gets feedback constantly between users who want to play it out and find out dApps out there, and dApp developers who want to bring value to the community. So it's a never-ending circle of feedback between the users and the dApp developers. And I mean, the developers are part of our community, is part of our user base. And I think you guys heard Charles before in the keynote today, and we have this vision of not be a Cardano wallet, we want to be a multi-chain wallet. And if you're right now still figuring it out how to bring more dApps to the ecosystem, imagine if we're talking about bring dApp developers from other ecosystems. Like, it needs to be the tools, it needs to be friendly. I mean, that's one of the challenges that we have right now, to build our own user base and keep growing the community. So definitely dApp developers, it's at the center of the dApp store to make sure that it's helping grow. Because I think I mentioned previously the example of MusicSwap and SundaySwap. They are very, very known DEXs for the community. But if I want to build my own DEX, from where do I start? How do I start building that reputation? And I think the dApp store is gonna definitely. The reputation is something that you grow over time. But if you can at least give a push in trying to build a reputation in a little easier way with the dApps, for example, the dApp store, and the community itself can start validating and asking questions. It's also about who's behind that project, how are they building it, is it open source, those type of things. If we can make the certification in the dApp store help us through that way, it's going to be a major success for us. And then, all the chains. But let's do one step at a time, right?
Exactly. Okay, well, Nils, Oswaldo, it was so great to be able to capture this conversation, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it on YouTube.
All right. Thanks, Matthew.
Thanks for having us.